Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Dialogue. I'm Taimur. Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Imran Khan, is on his official visit to Kyrgyzstan to attend the 19th meeting of the Council of the Heads of the State in the capital of Kyrgyzstan, Bishkek. And there he met the President of Kyrgyzstan and also several other dignitaries and heads of the state. And on social media specifically, we see Prime Minister Imran Khan meeting the President of Russia, China, and several other Central Asian states are the members of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and this is a platform initiated by Russia and China for the regional connectivity and regional cooperation. Prime Minister's visit to Kyrgyzstan is very important, and there he gave also interview to the Russian news agency, mentioning that Pakistan would like to buy arms from Russia, and also that Pakistan is improving its relations with Russia. This tour specifically is very important if we look at Pakistan's relations with the Central Asian states, with Kyrgyzstan specifically, with China, and most importantly, Russia. So this time somehow Russia has been dominating the whole discourse about the SCO, its platform, Pakistan's relations with Chinese as well, and with the Central Asian states, as I said earlier. We'll talk about the potential of SCO, Pakistan's relations with all these countries, and with our special guest in the studios. Our first guest is Ambassador Asif Durrani, renowned senior diplomat and expert on Pakistan's foreign policy. Sir, welcome to the show. Our second guest is Brigadier retired Saleem Qamar, renowned senior analyst and an expert on Pakistan's security as well as on Pakistan's foreign policy. We'll start our discussion with PTV's special correspondent, Mr. Raza Khan, on the visit of Prime Minister's visit to Kyrgyzstan and the SCO platform. Assalamu alaikum.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum, Shmail.
Raza, Prime Minister Imran Khan is visiting Kyrgyzstan, and there he also made a speech. He met several dignitaries, heads of the state. Tell us about Prime Minister's visit to Kyrgyzstan and the importance of SCO and his meeting specifically, especially with the President of Russia.
Shmail, Shanghai Cooperation Organization has assumed great importance because it encompasses huge countries as well as countries from South Asia as well, and now Iran is also there. So it's it's a setup which encompasses the future of Asia, so to say, as well as inclusion of Russia in it. So this particular multilateral gathering in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, brought together the leadership of these countries, the members of SCO, and Prime Minister Imran Khan unveiled his 8-point agenda before the SCO Summit, and which basically aimed at economic development and inter-regional connectivity. These were the themes. He focused more on that, and he also reinforced a vision which was based on cooperation. And in that, he basically supplemented the vision of President Xi Jinping of China, this the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, which encompasses a huge area of the world, so many countries, and believes in mutual development rather than exclusivity, so to say, or nationalism or xenophobia, as is perhaps espoused by the likes of Mr. Trump in America. So Prime Minister Imran Khan talked about rejection of confrontation, promotion of cooperation, and advancement of the imperatives of peaceful coexistence. The peaceful coexistence was also one of the themes he harped upon, and he focused that this should be, the target at both the regional and international levels. So, Prime Minister's
Raza, also Prime Minister Imran Khan, while he's visiting Bishkek, he met the Russian president as well. Though this wasn't a formal meeting, but he was seen with the Russian president. Both were standing together during the photo shoot as well. The optics are very interesting, as we see. What do you think about that? What are the reports on that?
Yes, Taimur, you rightly pointed out the optics were very important because the informal, camaraderie between the two leaders was visible, and the most important thing is that in the interview given to Russian news agency Sputnik,
Yes.
Prime Minister Imran Khan mentioned the desire on the part of Pakistan to buy arms from Russia. And as we all know, that the ties between Pakistan and America have cooled down because America's obvious tilt towards India. So, high-tech weapons. Now, Russia is in the forefront of the air defense, especially its S-400 missile system is very popular, and now we see even Turkey foregoing or probably foregoing F-35s to buy S-400. So Pakistan is also looking to buy advanced weapons from Russia, and Prime Minister Imran Khan also talked about the cooperation between the defense forces of the two countries. And there is an obvious improvement in ties between Pakistan and Russia in the last few years, and that momentum was visible during all the interactions during the SCO Summit between Prime Minister Imran Khan and President Putin of Russia.
Right.
And yes, and there was meeting with Mr. Jinbekov of the President of Kyrgyzstan as well. So, and there was a land corridor which came under discussion, because you have to realize that Afghanistan is becoming a sort of a utopia, the peace over there. So that peace is supposed to come for 20 years almost now. It hasn't been materialized. CASA 1000. So there's another route which has been looked upon that goes into China and from there to Kyrgyzstan. So this land corridor then can go into Kazakhstan and beyond. And the
Raza,
air corridor was also discussed between the two leaders. So all in
yes,
all, it
Prime
was
Minister mentioned all these things in his speech, and you rightly said, Raza, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. Ambassador Durrani talking about all these things that Mr. Raza, our special correspondent, just mentioned. The importance of SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, as a platform where all these countries, member countries, can discuss about connectivity and regional cooperation. What do you think about the potential of SCO?
The potential is tremendous, because when you look at the composition of SCO, Russia and China being founding members, and then India, Pakistan, two new nuclear entrants, and then 4 Central Asian states. When you look at the geography, and then now if you include the observers, Iran, Afghanistan, so it's a landmass which almost divides the whole world geographically. It occupies the central place geographically. And then if you look at the resources which these countries have, those are tremendous, whether these are rare earths or other precious materials, metals and minerals, as well as energy resources. So you can say the sky is the limit as far as regional cooperation under the umbrella of Shanghai Cooperation Organization is concerned. So in this respect, this summit, these regular summits have assumed greater importance, and then it is heading towards a strong bloc which has a great promise, and it can actually assume the importance of, if not immediately, but it could be, you can say, could be parallel to European Union or the Asian tigers such as ASEAN. So I think this is the organization which needs to be watched, and since we are part of this organization, and our contribution has been very well appreciated by the member states. That's why last year Pakistan became the full member along with India. So, and then it is also important that both India and Pakistan are sharing this forum. If you look at their own within the region in South Asia, India has almost blocked SAARC summit, but here this is a forum where India and Pakistan, they have the prospects of resolving their disputes, because here we have two important members, Russia and China, which can wield a positive influence upon the countries. And I think then resolution of disputes could be another positive aspect of this organization. I think we should be looking forward to the future positivity which this organization is going to generate.
Right. And Brigadier, but strategically, looking at the formation of SCO is very interesting. A Chinese-Russian initiative taking place in Central Asia, and countries from South Asia are the members, the core members as well. taking place in Bishkek in Kyrgyzstan. How do you see this formation and its potential?
Thank you, Taimur. I'm very happy to speak on SCO for two reasons. One, I was the first representative from Pakistan to go into SCO in 2005. It was outreach by SCO in 2005 beginning. It has three components, the security component, the political component, and the economic component. But the first outreach that was made to Pakistan was through the security component. So I was lucky to be nominated to represent Pakistan in Beijing in SCO headquarters, and we had the status of being an observer state then along with India. Based on that report that I wrote, then same year at the end of 2005, Pakistan was invited in Astana, Kazakhstan at the summit level, and then that paved the way. Where do we stand today?
Yes.
It took almost 12 years for Pakistan to become the full member along with India in 2017, right? Now, brief words about the evolution of SCO. The mother organization of SCO was called Shanghai 5. The very first name was Shanghai Pact in 96 April, and then the name was changed into Shanghai 5 with China as the founding father, Russia there, and Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. Uzbekistan, after a couple of years, Uzbekistan joined, but as Ambassador Durrani said, Turkmenistan throughout stayed out of it, and even now they are just the observer state but not the member. And now, the strategic importance of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, as I said, it has three components, but let me also underscore that SCO represents half the population of planet Earth. And as Ambassador was trying to highlight, by mere geography and the size, it represents 3/5 of the Eurasia. I would like to mention here Brzezinski, who's a known political thinker,
National
American,
security,
a Polish
advisor,
American
right.
diplomat who was, I think, national security advisor to President Carter. He said that whosoever, and this he said in the 70s, not now, whosoever controls Eurasia landmass will be the dominant global power. And key to Eurasian landmass is through Central Asia. Now 2001, now underscore the timeline, 2001, America invades Afghanistan in the backdrop of 9/11, and 2001, SCO comes into being, right? So see the timeline. When Obama was president, he gave out, based on the same concept that Brzezinski had given, he gave out Asia Pivot Policy somewhere around 2011-12. And then Trump came in, that pivot policy was renamed, slightly amended, that it was renamed Asia Pacific rebalancing policy, and its manifestation, you are seeing Chinese string of pearls going for the ports, all Asia Pacific, America going for all important ports in Asia Pacific for domination of the sea lines of communication. But when it comes to the land mass, the lines of communication by road, by earth, here comes the importance of Pakistan and the project that China simultaneously, very silently was unfolding, was first called One Belt, One Road, and later the Belt and Road Initiative.
Right.
See the timing of this announcement in 2010 afterwards, and then see the evolution and the expansion in the scope and the membership of the SCO. So SCO, in my view, is a great counterweight to American overtures in Asia Pacific. Now, where the shifting has been seen, the tectonic shift that Raza was trying to mention here, that India now stands with America and Pakistan is greatly seen as standing more closer to China and Russia than with America. So this shift in the geostrategic spaces, that is very important to understand.
Right.
But overall, the strategy remains the same. It is the contest for the domination of the sea, air, and line of communication for
Absolutely.
overall economic dominance.
And the very important point, the importance of Eurasia, Ambassador Durrani, is very interesting and something that scholars and researchers and policy makers are working on. What is the future of Eurasia, the Central Asian states, and where do you see Pakistan and the members of SCO?
As far as Pakistan is concerned, excuse me, I think we are now at the advanced stages of building our regional policy. Earlier, we used to bank on allies far afield, but I think experience has shown over the decades that I think if you are in peace within and without, especially in the region, and that guarantees your stability and prosperity. So therefore, Pakistan's attention and focus on regional countries, especially neighbors, is the, you can say, very crucial factor which has contributed to our joining of the SCO. And then from it should flow, I mean, for the SCO as well as for the Eurasian region, that how this whole bloc can emerge in future in terms of security, in terms of political alignments and economic integration. Already geographically they are contiguous, these countries which are the members of SCO, and there is a scope of further expansion. I will not rule out Turkey joining it, as well as some other Central Asia. I mean, Central Asia is almost complete except for Turkmenistan, which has announced its neutrality, joining any political alliances. But elsewhere in the other CIS states, there is a possibility. But for me, the most important thing would be that when Turkey joins, because already at the strategic level, Turkey, Russia, and Iran, they have made common causes when it comes to the Middle East. So here, then when it comes Middle East, then I think there will be options for other Middle Eastern countries for their own security, for their own stability. And then the United States will have to decide whether arms twisting is going to work on its way or for its advantage, or cooperation. Because here SCO is an organization which believes in regional cooperation without coercion. Here, this is the underlying point. And this United States in its history, only 12 years have been peaceful for the whole history of the United States. So United States will have to revisit its foreign policy. And then again in our neighborhood in Afghanistan, it now has turned out to be the longest war of its history. So therefore, very important changes are taking place. Afghanistan itself is heading towards a showdown. And this showdown will actually determine the future contours of this whole region. And then subsequently what is happening in Iran versus Middle Eastern countries and the United States. So I think the SCO will be watching keenly about these developments.
And especially Iran's relations with China and Russia, for that matter.
Correct.
Has been very
Correct.
strong.
And Iran is an observer of the SCO. And I think it's only the time factor that it will become a full partner of the SCO. So therefore, when you talk about the prospects, and when you talk about the regional political scenario which is emerging, and in that the United States strong arm methods, and especially after the Trump's ascension to power, this has become a very challenging times for the regions, for the countries, even for the Europeans. So therefore, we are now, as the Chinese say, living in interesting times, but challenging times. So therefore, we have to be careful, we have to be cautious. But for Pakistan, I think this is going to be a good omen when we have a strong regional policy. And that can guarantee stability, not only to Pakistan, but in the neighborhood.
And Brigadier Saleem, these developments are certainly very interesting. Europe is a market that China would want to tap. Europe has dependent somewhat on Iran, for that matter, on the Chinese goods. And Eurasia is the bridge between China and Europe. In this whole context, where do we stand and what role can Pakistan play and how can we benefit from the developments taking place?
Right. I think before we talk about the role that Pakistan play, first we got to understand what does Pakistan get out of being the member. It has taken 12 long years to be a full member. And as I said, the three components, economic, political and security, for Pakistan, due to obvious reason, the situation is very ominous in the Gulf. You know, Iran appears to be a target now, a new target for the United States. But then if at all that happens, although the chances or the probability is less, but the possibility can't be ruled out. The probability is very less. Things are very ominous for Pakistan, whether it happens or not. Anytime Iran can be replaced by Pakistan. So that rings alarm bell for us. So SCO umbrella on the Security Forum has a lot of meaning for Pakistan. On the economic side, as I said, China, for example, has now 4 observer states on the SCO. One is Iran, other is Afghanistan, one is Mongolia, and 4th is Belarus. But then there are contact countries. Turkey is on the top, Azerbaijan, Sri Lanka. All these countries have a lot of economic meanings for China. So it is not Pakistan alone that can play a role. All these countries, they do understand that they are being targeted, being victimized, being coerced. Even if you have money, for example, take the example of Turkey. They have money to buy S-400. But what are they being threatened with? If you buy S-400, we want to give you F-35. So if a country like Pakistan, who doesn't have money to buy this, even if we had this, we would face the same situation. So it is basically a mentality and approach of a hegemon that SCO is trying to contest. So that is why in the beginning I said that SCO's greatest meaning is counterbalancing the American overtures in Eurasian region, in Asia Pacific region. So whenever we have to play a role, first thing I think we should be trying to do is that there shouldn't be any conflict taking place in SCO region. That includes India, Pakistan, that includes Afghanistan, that includes Iran. So any member state or even the observer state.
Right.
Now let me draw your attention toward yet another organization in the region that is called CSTO. That is led by Russia, Collective Security Treaty Organization, and Iran had already been beneficiary of that. Durrani Sahib has been ambassador in Iran. He would know that better than me. In 2009, there was a Tehran Summit December, when there were a lot of preparation for military preparation going on for taking on Iran, using Afghanistan as a base. It's a first-hand knowledge because I was defense advisor in all of Central Asia then, right? So there's a lot of preparation. So what Putin did was, he called the CSTO summit not in any member country but in Iran. And on the podium he said, any attack on Iran would be taken as an attack on Iran. And then the whole preparation went away. So that is the kind of meaning every member country of SCO or CSTO and every observer country need to have. So that is why there is a lot of desire by all the contact countries and the observer countries to be the full member. And if they become the full member, if they are representing half the population, they would represent more than half the population of the entire world and greater the land mass than half world, right? So if that happens, America will not be the sole unchallenged superpower. Number 2, China is number 1 economic competitor at the moment for America, but Russia remains number 1 military competitor. So these 2 economic and military competitors sitting on one table and contesting America and NATO, that has a lot of meaning for all the member countries of the SCO. So that is where our role remains very specific, security specific, and that is what led Prime Minister Imran Khan to say, to put in informal, that we are thinking of buying arms from Russia. Right? So why he is compelled to say so? Because that security umbrella Pakistan needs more than any other country, along with Iran. So it is not only SCO, we should also try to be member of the CSTO. Depends on acceptance. But a lot depends on how much money we can generate to be able to buy something and be meaningful to the world. But ultimately it is the economics that dictate every policy. Not the only emotion and desires.
And Prime
Our
Minister,
geostrategic importance is there, but we have to enhance our economic importance, and that is why the focus on tourism from Pakistan side, people-to-people contact, a lot of people are invited for direct investment, and Russia had been messaging for the last 15 years that they want to do a lot of investment in Pakistan steel mills, in the energy sector. They had even offered Pakistan that we can make atomic energy plants in Pakistan, even on very relaxed kind of installment periods, and it all depends on the acceptance. So I think Pakistan has great interest in this, and likewise it is going to be mutual benefit for all the countries, not any exclusive country.
Right, and also Prime Minister said that I would love to visit Russia. About this statement, we'll discuss
Maybe
about
by the end of the year.
After this break. We are having discussion on the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and Prime Minister's visit to attend this Council of Heads of SCO in Kyrgyzstan. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are discussing Prime Minister's visit to Kyrgyzstan to attend the SCO meeting. Mr. Durrani, Prime Minister Imran Khan, he informally met President of Russia, President Putin. They had a photo shop together. They both were standing together. And you told us before the show about the alphabetic order that in which the heads of the state, they stand for the photo shoot. But optics are very important in international relations. And not just optics, we can see that Prime Minister Imran Khan said that we would like to buy arms from Russia. Also that he said that I would love to visit Russia. So these two statements, as Brigadier Saleem was also saying, that are very important. How do you see these statements in the context of the optics with President Putin?
I think Prime Minister Imran Khan has touched the right chord in terms of Pakistan-Russia relations. His interview to Sputnik ahead of his visit to Bishkek, it was quite a straightforward response to all the questions which were put. And as we were discussing earlier, his desire to visit Russia, he said he had visited Russia once, but he would like to visit again. But this time it would be a different responsibility he'll be carrying. And he also talked about buying weapons from Russia. So I think it's a big signal. And that shows that already some ice melting has taken place, ice breaking has taken place. And it is a good omen because here we have to diversify our sources of acquisition of weapons, which we earlier have been doing from the United States. Now it's an open world if India can move on from Russia to the United States. So I think Russia has every right and Pakistan has every right to have a mutually beneficial relationship in the defense field. Not only that, but Prime Minister also hinted at in his interview about about cooperation in the energy sector, which Pakistan is deficient and Russia has got in abundance. And it is not that. Look at the geography. Already Iran has established this north-south corridor which links Russia through Azerbaijan. And then Pakistan is the next door, land-wise. So it's contiguous. So therefore, there is a tremendous scope as well as synergy, as well as the energy it is going to release with this cooperation. And Russia is a linchpin along with China. And with China, we already have the strategic partnership, which is now transforming into a fruitful and substantive economic cooperation. And again, in that, then Pakistan is the linchpin to BRI initiative. And this CPAC is